everybody, it's been an absolute age since I've done one of these videos, but I finally got the next part of the Everqueen painting videos edited down, so that means that she will now be back on Twitch at some point in the future to have some more painting done, but just not right this moment. No, right this moment we are going to be discussing her, well, some of the background that she's involved in. Maybe not quite so heavily, because last time we talked about the Witch King. This time we're going to talk a bit more about, again, the Witch King and the lore of the Everqueen and the Witch King, and like you can see some of their background and things like that. Today we're going to be talking about the Battle of Finuvial Plain, or the last little bit of Finuvial Plain, which is going to be very quick, and then we're going to move on to the Dark Elf invasion. It was an incredibly climactic battle which brought an end to the invasion of the island continent of Ulthuan by the combined forces of the Dark Elves and the forces of Chaos during the Great War against Chaos in 2302 IC. It was fought on Safri's Finuvial Plain, obviously, between the Azure and the Drushi alongside the Warriors of Chaos, and led to an unexpected victory for the High Elven forces led by the twin brothers of Tyrion and Teclis, obviously including the Everqueen. Even as the Warriors of Chaos and their demons and beastmen allies penetrated deeper into the realms of the Old World during the Great War against Chaos, the Dark Elves of Naggaroth struck their own pact with the ruinous powers in Malekith's determination to retake his birthright no matter the cost, and the Black Ox sailed out together with a plague fleet manned by worshippers of Nurgle, the chaos god of disease and despair. The Dark Host set out towards the island continent of Ulthuan, the homeland of their mutual and deeply hated enemies, the High Elves. The Dark Elves and their Chaos allies swept the seas clear of Ulthuan's once vaunted navy and took the Blighted Isle and the land of Naggaroth. In 2301 IC, Malekith, the Witch King of Naggaroth, set foot once more upon the land he had so long lusted after. The unprepared High Elves faced defeat after defeat, and a large part of Ulthuan was looted, burned and pillaged. In one of these raids, the Everqueen Alariel, who you can see me painting here, escaped from death at the hands of the Dark Allies, rescued by the valiant warrior Prince Tyrion, and the pair fled from the forests of Avalon, which fell into the hands of the Dark Elves following their surprise attack. The hearts of the High Elven population were filled with despair as they thought that the Everqueen and Tyrion were both lost. The High Elves were driven back until only the kingdoms of Calador, Safri and the city of Lothran remained under their control. The High Elves' military had been so thoroughly ground down by the Dark Elves and their Nurglish allies that they could muster little more than a campaign of guerrilla warfare to harry the advancing foe. But with the help of the High Elf mage Teclis, then an unknown young High Elven wizard, small victories were achieved. Among the greatest of these was when Teclis slew Ferric Castaman, a powerful sorcerer of Zinch, and his coven of 10 fellow sorcerers in the Battle of Hathar Ford. Malekith, unsatisfied with just the rumours of his foe's death, sent forth 4 Cainite assassins to bring him the body of the Everqueen. She and Tyrion tried to hide from their Dark Elven pursuers, as Tyrion, struck earlier by a Witch Elf's blade, slowly succumbed to its poison. Upon their discovery, the assassins were killed, but not before sending a message to the Witch King, who summoned Nakari, a powerful Slaneshi keeper of secrets, and sent the Greater Demon forth to slay the High Elven leaders. It was Teclis who came just in time to banish the demon back to the realm of chaos and save his brother Tyrion and the Everqueen from death. The 3 were picked up by a white ship on the shores of the inner sea of Ulthuan, where they swiftly joined the remains of the High Elves' army assembling at the Finuvial Plain, just in time to meet the gathering Dark Elven and Chaos forces as they moved to claim the rest of Ulthuan. Both forces gathered for a final confrontation in 2302 IC upon the plain in Safri that would determine the destiny of the island continent and the High Elven people. In the year 139 of the 11th Phoenix King, also known as I said, 2302 IC, the fate of Ulthuan hung in the balance once more. The Dark Elven army that massed on the Finuvial Plain was large beyond counting, bolstered both by its fell warriors of Chaos allies from the Old World and by the Witch King's terrible sorceries. Yet the High Elves possessed the courage of desperation. They knew that defeat here would doom not only their fair land, but also the entire mortal world. Wrathful at the failure of his Cainite assassins to slay the Everqueen Alariel, the Witch King loosed the demon Nakari to hunt her down. Tyrion held the Keeper of Secret at bay, but the prince was outmatched and saved only when Teclis arrived and banished the demon to the realm of chaos. Cloaked by Teclis' magic, the trio reached the shores of the Inner Sea. There, a white ship crewed by the remaining handmaidens of the Everqueen carried them to Finuvial Plain, where the shattered remains of the elf armies were assembled to make a final desperate stand. As the battles raged, the monstrous reptilian Cold One mounts of the Dark Elves were hamstrung by nimble shadow warriors, and poison bolts ricocheted from the armour of Kaldorian dragon princes. Cainite assassins plied their bloody trade, striking down princes and mages wherever the High Elves gained an advantage. Phoenixes swooped through the ranks of witch elves, the air rolling in their wake, setting hair and flesh ablaze. On the right flank, full-plated clad Chaos Warriors exchanged blows with the Swordmasters of Hoeth, and White Lions hacked at the Slaughter Brutes and winged Chimerae. All about, spells crackled back and forth through the air, and blood mingled with the dust thrown up by the battle. Thousands died, but neither side gave any ground. So great was the carnage that the warriors fought over the bodies of the dead, and ravens feasted upon the wounded trapped within the mounds of corpses. Tyrion fought in the very centre of the battle, striving with the fury of an enraged beast. His great burning blade cut down foes with every stroke, and where he rode, the High Elves took heart. Meanwhile, Teclis wrestled with the Witch King's dark sorcery, and for the first time encountered a foe that was his match. Lightning streaked across the darkening sky. Terrible clouds of black sorcery capable of stripping warriors to the bone were turned aside by magical winds. Demons tore their way through to the mortal world and brought fresh carnage to a battlefield already heavy with slaughter. This alone might have spelled doom for the Aserai, had it not been for the actions of the Everqueen, who sent a wave of blazing magical light slashing through the demonic ranks, banishing many thousands of them from the mortal world and back to the realms of chaos. Alas, this deed saw her already waning powers completely spent, moments after her unconscious body was borne from the battlefield by her surviving handmaidens. It soon became clear that even the deeds of heroes could not overcome the Dark Host. Tyrion could not be everywhere at once, and Teclis could not hold every spell. Slowly, the weight of numbers turned against the High Elves. Teclis saw that the battle had turned, and that the High Elves would be massacred if something desperate was not attempted. Gathering his strength, Teclis invoked the power of Lilith, the elven goddess of dreams and fortune, his staff glowing with brilliant light as the goddess fed him magical energy. With one final effort, Teclis sculpted the power into one titanic burst and unleashed it upon the Witch King. Frantically, the Evil One tried to turn Teclis' assault aside, but he could not. The blast descended upon him, burning into Malekith's twisted soul, and at the final moment he was forced to magically hurl himself into the realms of chaos to avoid utter and final destruction. Freed now from the burden of dealing with the Witch King, Teclis turned his sorceries upon the evil horde of Drushi and the worshippers of chaos. Magical flames sprung up amongst the dark elven ranks, and bolts of pure magical thundered from the heavens. Through the maelstrom of magic rode Tyrion, his sword arm weary, but his wrath unabated. With a single mighty blow, the High Elf Prince cut down the Witch King's standard-bearer, and his steed trampled the fallen banner into the mud. Seeing their dreadlord defeated, the Dark Elves fell into despair and withdrew from the field. After the Battle of Finuvial Plain, Asanil the Dragon Lord had been ordered to link up with the High Elven forces marching from the city of Lothran in Etain. Once he and his fellow dragon princes of Kaldor arrived, the combined forces of Lothran and Kaldor were able to destroy the last major Dark Elven army still operating within Ulthuan. But before Asanil could fly to the Phoenix King Funabar's aid, word came that Kaldor itself was under attack. Under the command of Asanil, an entire fleet of the dragon princes sped back through the skies to protect their homeland. In a brilliant assault, the dragon-riding dragon princes swept the Dark Elves to the sea, and Kaldor was saved from conquest. Triumphant, Asanil headed back towards the rendezvous with the Phoenix King, confident that great rewards and honour awaited him upon his arrival. On hearing that his orders had been disobeyed, Funabar instead became enraged. If his troops had come under attack without the support of the dragon princes, they would have faced total destruction. When Arsenal and his fellow Dragon Riders arrived at the Phoenix King's camp, no parade awaited them. Instead, Arsenal was summoned before the Phoenix King to account for his actions. Enraged that the Phoenix King would accuse him of betrayal when he had actually helped save his homeland from destruction, Arsenal swore that he would no longer be a subject of the Crown of Ulthuan. The response from Funabar the Seafarer was quick and harsh. Arsenal would be stripped of his title and lands and banished from Ulthuan unless he faced the Phoenix King's justice and accepted the prescribed punishments. Prideful to the last, Arsenal declined. Arsenal was now a high elf prince without a domain, a lord in exile. He gathered his weapons and armour, mounted his green dragon Deathfang, and left the blessed island of Ulthuan behind to reach the distant land of Tilia, where he would offer his services as a rare elven mercenary to the realm of men. So there you go. I hope that you enjoyed this short little rundown of the last part of the kind of High Elven Battle of Finuvial Plain, which was one of the most important points for the Everqueen until like the world fell apart. And thank you as always to Lloyd for requesting this video. I know you really like them, so thank you very much, and see you next time everybody. Take care, have fun, and goodbye.